and then there's one for Mexico. In terms for the articles that come from Mexico, I've imposed additional tariffs to certain goods to address a national emergency that comes from illegal migration and drugs through our southern border, in conformity with the executive order that was published on February 1st. That, if you remember, is the first time that he announced tariffs related to migration and fentanyl. After this meeting, after this published, we had a first call with President Donald Trump, if you remember, and then we reached a month to postpone the imposition of the tariffs, modified by the executive order of February 3rd in 2025, which is the one that gave us another month. And the progress on our southern border on the executive order 14227 of March 2nd, that also spoke of new tariffs. As a result of these tariff measures in the border, all goods coming from Mexico and Canada under the terms of the general statement, I think this is the other document, well, all goods coming from Canada and Mexico, including any treatment established in relation with the treaty between the United States, Mexican states, and Canada, will continue to be eligible to enter the U.S. market under these preferential conditions. Without any other goods from Canada and Mexico that are not original from the country under TMEC will have additional tariffs of 25%. So everything that is within TMEC has no tariffs. It's a preferential treatment. Everything is outside TMEC has the 25% tariffs. That is the agreement that we reached on March 6th with President Trump in that call that we had and that we reported here. There is a section where it speaks of the 12%. Any value of the tariffs on import. So it currently is subject to tariffs of 25%, while things imported from Canada that doesn't qualify on the TMEC can have another 10% tariff. Any other tariff on imported goods from Canada and Mexico under the terms of this order will not be applied for more of the tariffs. Well, what it says is that the tariffs don't add up. From this, all the articles will be suspended from the ones that are considered from the TMEC. Here we go. As long as the articles that do not qualify as original from TMEC will be subject to a tariff of 12%. However, these tariffs on imported goods from Mexico and Canada will not apply to energy resources, is what is being repeated. Maybe you can find the other publication that has not that many technical terms. Yeah, there's another statement because this is the most technical one. What it says is that if there is more progress in reducing the traffic of fentanyl, then the tariffs will go down from 25%. So that's the preferential treatment that Mexico has. What's missing? Well, to better the conditions for the car industries and the conditions for steel and aluminum.
Presidenta, ha dicho aquí que el mayor impacto que van a tener estas medidas arancelarias son para los
Mr. President, you
consumidores en
said here
Estados
that
Unidos.
the
Pero en ese país
major
hay
impact will be for
123
consumers in
millones
the
de
United
migrantes
States,
mexicanos
where
que también van a ser
there are
afectados.
millions of Mexican,
139.
No, 39 millones.
39 millones de
39,
migrantes mexicanos
39
viviendo
million
allá que
migrants in
son
Mexico
afectados.
living
Es importante,
that will
son
be affected.
39 millones de diversas generaciones. En esos
So it's
39
39
millones se
millions from
cuenta
different generations,
segunda y tercera
and we're counting
generación,
second and third
que ya son
generation that
estadounidenses
are
y que
citizens
tienen
of the
la
United States
nacionalidad
and have the
mexicana, es decir, que
nationality of
tienen
Mexico,
doble
meaning that they have two
nacionalidad. Los
nationalities.
de primera generación,
Those of first
son
generation,
6 millones.
I think it's only like
Bueno,
6 million.
estos migrantes mexicanos viven allá,
These
consumen
Mexican
allá y
migrants
van a
live
ser
there,
impactados
consume
por
up there,
las tarifas.
and will be
Ya
impacted by
su
these
economía
tariffs.
también ha sido
Their
impactada
economy
por
has been
algunas otras
impacted by
medidas que el
other
presidente
measures
ha
that the
emitido en
president
este
has
país,
established in
como
that
las
country,
redadas,
like
como
raids
estas amenazas de
and
deportaciones,
threats of
que a muchos
deportations.
que trabajan en el
There
sector
are many
informal
that
les ha
work
impedido
in the
salir
informal
a
sectors
trabajar de la misma
that
manera. ¿Qué
don't go out
mensaje
to
le
work
da
in
a
the same
estos
way. What
migrantes?
is your
Siempre los vamos
message
a
to them?
proteger, ayudar
That we will always protect them
abrazar,
and help them and embrace them.
asesorar
We will always counsel them.
jurídicamente, que si alguno de ellos quiere
If any of
regresar,
them
aquí
want to
nosotros seguimos
return,
con los brazos
we will
abiertos, seguimos
welcome them with open
con el
arms.
programa México te abraza,
We continue with the
pero
program
siempre
Mexico
van a
Embraces
estar
You,
protegidos
but they
y
will
cuidados
always be
por el
protected
gobierno
and taken care
y
of
siempre
by the government of Mexico.
buscaremos
And we will
también
always look
las mejores
for, as well for the
condiciones
best
para
conditions
los mexicanos
for
en Estados
Mexicans in the
Unidos,
United
que por alguna
States
razón no
that
tienen
for
documentos.
any reason don't have
Y por último,
documents.
quisiera saber qué porcentaje de los
And I would
bienes
like to
que
know
no
what
están
percentage
incluidos
of
en
the
el
goods
TEMEC
that
sí
are not
recibirán
included in
una
TEMEC
tarifa y
receive
cómo
a
afectará, de
tariffs
qué,
and
de qué
how
tamaño es el daño de
and
esos,
how big
de
is
esos-
that
de
is the
esos-
damage, is the harm.
La industria
Well,
automotriz representa
the
como
car
el
industry
30%,
represents like
¿no?, de nuestras
30%, right,
exportaciones
of our
a los
exports
Estados
to the
Unidos.
United States.
¿Qué dice sobre la industria automotriz?
What does it say about the car industry?
Lo que publicaron hace como
Well,
una semana,
what they published like a week ago,
a ver si lo tienen.
if you have it.
Bueno, vamos con este primero y luego vamos con este es, digamos, un resumen del otro
This is we can say
documento,
this is a
que es
summary
más
of the other
sencillo
document that is simpler.
que es más no tiene tanto tecnicismo,
It doesn't have that
redacción,
many technical
pero dice lo mismo.
terms in
Para
its
Canadá y
writing,
México,
but it says the
las
same.
órdenes
For
existentes
Canada
de
and Mexico,
fentanyl
the existing
obligación
order of
de
fentanyl
IEPA
migration
permanecen en vigor
continues
y
in
no
force
se vieron afectadas por
and will
esta
not be
orden.
affected by this order.
Esto significa que los bienes que cumplen
This means that the
con
goods that
el,
fulfill
en inglés es USMCA, en
with the
español es TEMEC, con
USMCA
el TEMEC, o para México es TEMEC, seguirán teniendo una
will
tarifa
continue
del
to have
0%,
a 0% tariffs.
todo lo que está dentro del TEMEC.
Everything that is within the
Los
USMCA,
bienes no compatibles con el TEMEC tendrán un arancel
those goods
del
that are not compatible with the
25%.
treaty will have a tariff of 25%.
Como bien explicó Marcelo,
It
las
means, as Marcelo
exportaciones de
explained,
México y de otros
exports
países
from Mexico and other
a los
countries
Estados Unidos,
to the United
en
States,
particular en México,
in particular in
tenían
Mexico,
dos vías
had
para
two
no
ways
tener aranceles, o sea,
to
para no
avoid tariffs,
tener impuestos por
to
parte de
avoid
Estados
taxes
Unidos.
on the
a lo que
part
ellos
of the United
importan,
States
o
to
sea, la
what they were
exportación.
importing.
¿Cuáles son esas dos vías?
What were
Una
those
vía
two
es el
ways?
tratado comercial,
One is the
el TEMEC.
trade agreement.
La otra vía
The other way
es una cláusula de la Organización Mundial
is a
de
clause
Comercio
of the
que se
World Trade
llama
Organization
Nación
that
Más
is called
Favorecida,
the most favored nation,
que era válida hasta ayer, que el presidente Trump decide tener un
that it was valid
esquema
until to
distinto
yesterday that
de
President Trump
tarifas
decided to have a different
para
scheme
el
of
mundo
tariffs for the
entero.
whole world.
Entonces, en nuestro caso en México,
So in our case in Mexico,
una parte muy importante
a
se
very
exporta
important
por
part
TEMEC y
is
la otra
exported through
por la
through
cláusula
the
de
agreement,
nación más
and the
favorecida.
other one through the clause of most
Si estás por
favored
nación
nation.
más favorecida,
If you're on that
vas a
one,
tener
on the
un
second,
arancel
you
del
will have a
25%.
tariff of 25%.
¿Qué puedes hacer para no tenerlo?
What can you do to not
Entrar
have
al
one?
TEMEC.
Go through the agreement.
Muchísimas empresas se han acercado a la Secretaría de Economía.
Many companies have
muchísimas,
come close to the
estaban
Secretary of
exportando a
Economy
través de
that were
nación
exporting
favorecida
through the
para
most
entrar al
favored
TEMEC.
nation
¿Es
to
factible? ¿Es
enter
factible? ¿Es viable?
the
¿Es viable?
agreement, and it's
¿Le
doable.
conviene a México? Sí,
Is it good for Mexico?
porque
And
ahí se
yes,
establece una cláusula de origen que quiere decir
because
que
there
más
we have a
productos
clause of origin
o más
that means
contenido
that
debe
more
ser
product
producido
and
en
more
México.
content must be produced in Mexico.
La cláusula de nación más favorecida, más
the
allá
clause
del
of most
asunto
favored
legal de la
nation
Organización Mundial de
beyond the
Comercio,
legal aspect of the World Trade
Eh,
Organization.
pues en este momento para Estados Unidos ya no
At
es
this
válido,
moment, for the United
porque ha
States, it's
puesto
not valid
aranceles al
because
mundo
it has
entero.
imposed
Lo
tariffs
que
on the
quiere
whole
decir
world.
es que la mayoría de las empresas
So what it means
buscaremos
is
y
that
daremos
the
las
most
facilidades
companies will
nosotros
look and we will
para
provide the
que entren
facilities
a su
to enter
exportación
its
a través
exports
del TEMEC.
through the
Ahora,
trade
¿qué más
agreement.
dice? Lo del 10%. En caso de que se
In
rescindan
case
las órdenes
that
existentes
the
de fentanilo
existing
y migración
orders
de
of
IEPA,
fentanyl
los
and
bienes
migrations
compatibles
are
con el TEMEC
overturned,
continuarán
the
recibiendo un
goods
trato
compatible with
preferencial,
the agreement will
mientras
continue
los bienes que no
to
conforme con el
receive a
TEMEC estarían
preferential
sujetos a un arancel
condition,
recíproco del
and the ones that are
12%. O
outside
sea,
of the agreement
si es
will
TEMEC
have a
es 0%.
preferential
Si no
tariff
es
of
TEMEC
12%.
y
Meaning, if you
se
are within the
mejoran las
agreement, it's
condiciones
0%.
en relación al
And if
fentanilo,
it's outside the
en
agreement,
el caso de
if the
nación más
conditions
favorecida se
of fentanyl
reduciría de 25
is
a 12.
improved,
¿Sí se
it will
entendió?
go from
Hasta ahora.
25% to 12. Is
Entonces,
this understood?
a ver si está lo de automotriz.
Do we have also the what we have to do with the cars
más
industry?
No, eso no es. Yo creo que no es esta. Es una parte también menos. A ver,
I don't think it's
más
this one.
abajo.
It's a section that
Aquí
is
está.
less technical. Here it is.
A todos los automóviles
To all
que importa
vehicles
Estados Unidos,
imported
a
by the
todos
United
de todo el
States
mundo,
from the whole world,
les pone un arancel
it
del
will impose a
25%.
25%
A
tariff.
todos.
All
Y
vehicles,
autopartes y automóviles de
parts
todo el mundo.
from all
de
over the world,
Europa,
from
de
Europe, from
Asia,
Asia,
de Australia, no sé si
from
fabrica
Australia. I don't know
automóviles,
if they are
a
making
todos
cars,
los
but
países del
all
mundo.
countries that export
Hace una
cars,
semana
a week ago,
Estados Unidos les pone un arancel del 25%.
the United States imposes a
¿Qué
tariff
fue
of
publicado
25%.
para México y
What was
Canadá?
published for Mexico and Canada?
En el caso de
In the
automóviles
case
que
of
califican
cars
para un
that
trato
qualify
arancelario
within the
preferencial
preferential
bajo el TEMEC,
treatment of
los
tariffs under the
importadores
agreement,
de dichos automóviles
importers of these
pueden
cars
presentar
can
documentación al
present
secretario
documents to the
que
secretary
identifique la
that
cantidad de
identify
contenido
the
estadounidense en cada modelo
quantity
importado a los
of
Estados
U.S.
Unidos.
equipment in
Lo que
every
dicen
model
es que se
in the
les va
United
a
States.
descontar
So what
la
is being
parte que
said
fue
is that
fabricada
the
en
part
Estados
that is
Unidos.
made in the United States is going to
Recuerden que
be
hemos dicho que
discounted.
muchas piezas de
Remember that we
vehículos
have said that many parts of the cars
vienen.
come and go.
Ellos,
So
de acuerdo con lo que publicaron, y
according to what
nosotros
they
esperamos
publish, and
tener
we continue
todavía
to
una
have
situación
a
más
better
preferencial,
preferential
el
treatment,
contenido de Estados Unidos
the
en esos
content from the
vehículos
United States in
no
those
se le va a
cars
cobrar el
will
25%.
not be charged.
Ahora más abajo. Para las autopartes. Hay otra publicación más sencilla también. Bueno, en el caso de los
Well,
vehículos,
in the case of cars,
hasta ahora, repito,
in the
hasta
case
ahora,
of
porque
vehicles,
todavía hay
until
diálogo,
now, because I say until now because
los
we're still
vehículos que se
talking,
exporten de México a
vehicles that are
Canadá
exported from Mexico to Canada
tendrán 25,
will
perdón,
have
de México a Estados Unidos
from Mexico,
tendrán
from Mexico to the United
25%
States,
de
we have
arancel,
a
con excepción de la parte
25%
que sea
tariff
fabricada en
with the
Estados Unidos.
exemption of the parts that are made in the United States.
Momento